Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate and I like to talk about the good, the bad, and the very bad of cinema. For the last 15 years or so, it has been hard not to notice the uptick in sex work being more available to the general public with the rise of social media. I remember how popular things like Suicide Girls was, following the models on Tumblr and Instagram, probably around 2013 to 2016, back when there was an emphasis on sex positivity before community guideline crackdowns. Cam girls, dancers, models, and real-life workers seem to have a visco heyday that has carried through to the platforms of today, but through a more sterile lens. With everything being filtered to filth, one film strips back the polished appearance, showing what can truly lie beneath. While doing the usual blank stare scrolling, I came across this film that piqued my interest and kept it through the 90-minute runtime. Produced by Janus, which is superior to A24 in my opinion, and directed by feminist filmmaker Lizzie Borden, Working Girls from 1986 shows sex work in a fascinating, matter-of-fact way. There are no major events, no dramatic monologues, no one needs saving, and it is absent of any male gaze. Sex work tends to be depicted in the complete opposite way and oftentimes feels exploitative. It made me think about how glossy sexual content has saturated the market for so long, some people have forgotten what real bodies look like. So have they also forgotten what real sex looks like? I'm going to be going through this film in its entirety, so spoilers ahead. I highly recommend it, and I will link where it's currently streaming at the time of this video in the description. We open with the morning routine of Molly, an Ivy League lesbian living with her partner and child in 80s urban New York. Apart from being a photographer, Molly's side hustle is being a sex worker at a brothel disguised as an apartment. We follow her through the day as she bikes to work, changes into nice clothes, doing her hair and makeup while waiting for the other girls to arrive and the shift to start. As she gets ready, the phone constantly rings, bringing the reminder of customers calling or standing outside before business is even open, like anyone is going to acknowledge that. Gina and Dawn join the shift, having another familiar conversation about how the boss wouldn't let them go home early the shift before, despite it being absolutely dead. The workers have a wonderful sisterhood dynamic with real, natural chemistry that makes it easy to care for all of them. Each client is greeted, offered a drink, engaged in small talk before getting to it. Towels are given, showers are taken, intercourse is had, and cash is handed over. Customer service masks are on with upbeat invitations to return, acting as a receptionist happily booking appointments, and pretending to be excited when you'd literally rather be doing anything else. Suffering through difficult customers is always going to be the hardest part of the job. Forced to laugh instead of rolling your eyes at some dumbass joke from the guy you were just talking shit about before his appointment, knowing that he's going to annoy you with extra requests and towing the line behavior. There are clients that also come in acting like they want a service but then leave, creeps calling, the ones who don't want to follow the rules, and worst of all, the ones who want to degrade you. The love-hate relationship with regulars is real. Cooking the books to keep afloat under the crushing weight of capitalism is nothing new. Molly and her coworkers have each other's backs when it comes to skimming money under the greedy boss's nose. As they should. Before the evening shift comes in, the girls have their lunch break, ordering burgers, salads, smoking weed, and chatting about everyday life outside of work. This surface level of female bonding makes things a little bit easier. A brief moment of release before the vibe is shot for the day, the moment when the boss walks in. Lucy is the madam. Dawn states she wishes she would just call herself a pimp, but that simply wouldn't do. You see, Lucy is materialistic, controlling, and carries an air of self-importance. She boasts of her expensive purchases while simultaneously berating the girls for not doing enough, threatening to charge them more, which is why you cook the books and pretend that cash doesn't exist. She wants to present as a sophisticated businesswoman, but like many of us have been subjected to deal with, she is nothing more than an obnoxious, inconsiderate cunt. She reminisces about her favorite employee, how she would fire all the current ones if she had five of her star that outshines everyone in every possible way, despite claiming to want diversity in the girls. It probably shouldn't, but it always surprises me when employers are willing to say this kind of shit in front of their employees. Of course, a boss wouldn't be a boss without singling out a specific employee to pester. Lucy is up Dawn's ass about everything under the sun, but our Queen Molly is a team player and is the saintly coworker who steps in to defend her. Lucy's face puckers at the interruption of her power play, but switches tunes when her wealthy married boyfriend joins them in the lobby. When they sit in the lobby area, all the pastels and unique vibrancy of that era stand out. Cozy knitwear, big hair, and furniture that would still be fine to use today with old school durability makes for a lived in but chic atmosphere. More clients come and go with the usual routines until it's time for a shift change. A woman comes in for a job interview, and within minutes, Lucy is testing the boundaries by asking her to stay a while until the evening shift arrives. She agrees, only to have Lucy inform her not to be discouraged if she does not make as much money as her white coworkers. Dawn begins getting ready to leave since her shift is over, but naturally, Lucy gets huffy with her, wanting her to stay, even though she knows Dawn is in school and needs to get to class. So much for flexible scheduling. It's crazy to think that this is all happening during the day for some reason. I am very envious of Molly's ability to stay calm and compartmentalize everything so well because she is asked to stay another hour. So she needs to run to the store and get more supplies, which everyone else piles onto. And when she goes outside, it's so bright out, it's jarring. She strolls the streets, stopping at a park briefly to decompress for a little bit before getting back to work. One of the evening shifts calls out, so who is bothered to stay even longer past their scheduled shift? Molly, because Molly is a great employee, and the higher up would rather take advantage of her than give her more incentives to stay. Lucy pulls the guilt card, saying things like, I always accommodate you, I never ask you for anything, even though she does. But she convinces Molly to stay even later. She reassures Molly that she'll find coverage for her, no worries, but we all know damn well that a boss will not find coverage if you say you'll stay. Gina and the interviewee leave for the day with a longtime employee returning after getting beaten and robbed with a brand new girl Lucy did not bother to train. Classic management. A bigger group of clients come in, so all the girls get busy, leaving no one to answer the phone that seems to never stop ringing. Lucy returns to the apartment after her day, livid no one was answering the phones, sending her on another bitching spiral. Her mood shifts when she catches Molly having a breakdown in the bathroom after a particularly terrible customer. It doesn't shift towards sympathy though, more of a aw bummer, but get back to work. Molly begs to go home as she stayed well past her original shift, but Lucy coldly tells her that she's already booked her another appointment. I must say, even though there is some bad clients, overall the interactions with Molly's clients are nice. They really appreciate her, they seem to love having conversations with her, and treat her respectfully. Even if you would like to see her outside the apartment, which she declines because her worlds could not be any more separate, especially her last client. And after she is finished up with him, she is feeling good and ready to go home for the day and returns downstairs only to learn that the new girl has already been fired after taking an emergency phone call from her young son. Granted, that was probably the best because this line of work was not meant for that girl. However, this strikes a chord in Molly. Molly is done. She has had enough of Lucy. I honestly feel like she would have stayed if Lucy wasn't such a terrible boss. It really does make a huge difference. I know I've had many managers over the years and I can only think of two that were amazing, so I stayed working under them for many years. I always reminded the shitty higher ups that if that saint of a manager leaves, I'm gone. Clearly, though, they would not care until they saw things going downhill when the competent workers leave, but big bosses do mental gymnastics to avoid having that conversation. Lucy is forced to acknowledge Molly's importance when she quits on the spot, stating she's not returning. Lucy freaks out saying she's short-staffed and Molly has so many regulars, meaning she brings in lots of money. That is why you nurture your good employees and not take advantage of them until they're worn into the ground. Molly heads home happily with a look of relief on her face. The film ends where it began because life goes on. Working Girls is an underrated gem that has aged incredibly well, especially coming from the 80s. It is very progressive for its time, treating the industry with the utmost respect as all jobs should be. What makes this film unique to me is how many sex scenes there are, but there is not a hint, not a trace of sensuality or eroticism. Just the banality of everyday jobs. Boring, but tolerable. After all, there is nothing arousing about work.